Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as always, back on F1 2021. And we arrive at the final track that is currently available on F1 2021. That is China, Shanghai, and we have done it. We have done every single track on this game until obviously Portimao and Imola were introduced. But we have done every single Hotlap and setup. So I really hope you've enjoyed this. Please let me know if you have found it useful. And as I said many times, I've really enjoyed doing this. It's been an absolute pleasure. I just really hope that this has helped a lot of people out, because this is something I was desperately needing myself when I first started racing. And if I had this, then I think I could have improved much faster than I did, which was definitely a slow burner. I felt like I had good speed when I first started, but if I had more tutorials and was watching more gameplay, I think that really would have accelerated it even more. This track here, China, I have to say, it's a track I've always have enjoyed driving, but I've never had great results right there. Always something catastrophic has usually happened. But this up here, I find this track has changed so much from the last game, and in my opinion it's not for the better on this one. I'm not a particular fan of how this track drives, and the lap itself I was fairly happy with. I played around a lot with the setup, but it ended up being very similar to what the world records time trial setup actually is. Pretty much exactly the same. I think there's some others like LTR Leopard. I tried his setup, but it was way too understeery, which I can't believe how he got his time and with that setup. So it just shows that whatever works for you may not work for other people and vice versa. But overall, particularly this corner, I made a bit of a mistake. I lost quite a bit of time, and you'll be able to see going through this first sector. Once we finish this lap, which is the fastest lap I did, this corner is an absolute nightmare, but did it quite nicely there. See, we do a 28.7, so respectable, but still about 3/10 away from Bruno Will, who did an absolutely insane lap. But you can see going through this first sector, at the start of our lap we were actually half a tenth down, and you can see there's a lot more room for improvement, especially at the end of the straight. I think there's a good 2 or so tenths, a comfortable 2 or so tenths left in this as well, and you can see we're almost a tenth up going through into there. But you know, we will save that for another day. But overall, I feel the setup feels very nice. So going into this turn 1, we are going to be looking at the left-hand side. As you pass the 50-meter board, that's where you want to be then downshifting and really let the engine do the braking. Look how little we are on the brakes. Just very slight dabs. Let the downshift, let the engine do the braking for you. Go all the way up through the revs in second gear, back down to first again, double shifting into third gear. I stay really tight here. A lot of people like to go wide, but I stay nice and tight. And you can see we are half a tenth down, so there's definitely room for improvement. And coming to quite an easy braking zone. Once you hit the curb, that is the braking zone. Making sure you don't hit the inside curb, because it really can unsettle you. And then making sure you get a nice clean exit as we do. And you can see we gain quite a bit of time back. As this curb, just before it finishes, that's where you want to be turning. So you can see we already started turning before it finishes. Stay nice and tight to stay as far left as you can. Once you get to the middle of the track, then really attack this early. You want to be carrying as much speed as you can. And as we go to the right, that's when you want to be turning to the left. Kiss this curb on the inside. Don't let it drift out too out wide, because you don't want to be caught on that curb on the outside. Use all the curb on the exit, and that was done very nicely. Again, quite a simple braking zone. Once you hit the curb, that's where you start braking, making sure that you, like Abu Dhabi, hit the first part of this curb, and then you do the same for the second. This will just give you a little bit more rotation. It will just glide the car round the corner. Don't hit the curb on the exit, because that really will unsettle you. Make sure you short shift into fifth gear. Stay nice and tight. Stay about middle of the track. And you can see we definitely gained quite a bit of that time. So almost 2 tenths up here. So this was looking like a very good lap as we hit the DRS. But at the end of the straight, I don't think we do this particularly well, but we're going to look at it anyway. Just as you hit the curb, about 10 meters into the curb, that's where you start braking. And you can see our gears got caught in fifth for a little bit too long. Want to be a bit tighter than that. If we did that, then I think we would have been about 2 tenths up coming into here, so we lost quite a bit of time there. This one's probably the hardest corner on the track. As you hit the 50-meter board, that's where you brake and turn, and you really, really need to mount this. You want to get in the middle of the car on that sausage curb, that yellow curb, otherwise you will bounce everywhere. If you hit it too little and too much, it will punish you. Coming across the line, it's a 28.7, a high one. But we're going to go through this first sector, little bonus clip here, and you can see it's just about how much speed you carry in. That's really what it is, and you can just see that we were half a tenth down before, and now we're going to be about a tenth up. So there's a tenth and a half in this first sector alone, really. And at the end of the straight as well, yeah, I think there's a good 2 or so tenths. It would be very hard to beat Bruno's time. That's a very impressive time, actually. So GG to him. He didn't do it in the equal car, so I don't know if that really makes a difference. And as I said, I used LCR Leopards. He was using like 7-8 wings, and it just felt very understeery for me. I was very surprised how he was able to do that time. But you can see we're using 9.7, so quite different from the other tracks. Quite similar to the Brazil setup, actually. This is, in fact, a little bit more of an unlocked differential to make it easier in traction. Right triple left just to make it as stable as possible on the high speed. 2.7, 2.4 roll bar, so pretty soft roll bar to get that traction, to not let it over rotate. Pretty standard ride height, not all the way to 100%, and this is what Bruno did, and the same tire pressures as him, because I find if you go 100%, it's much easier to lock the rear tires, the rear brakes. So overall, I was fairly happy with that. I think, as I said, there is quite a bit more time in that, but we will save that for another day, for a different video. And that is it at the moment until we get some new tracks. Those are the setups, and if you become a YouTube member on my Discord, which is down in the description, I will be giving you some real-time setups as the game progresses, but I will be doing some Master Series in the future. I really hope you've enjoyed this series. Thank you so much for the support on the channel. Really does mean a lot. And I will be catching you very soon. Peace.